Thank you very much for coming to spend this time here with us today. Notwithstanding the heat, which is kind of a little bit outrageous, but what can we do? This is, I'm here not today, or not as much today as GP and CEO of AAlchemy Ventures. You probably know me in that capacity, at least some of you. Rather, I'm here today as a founding club member of VNTR, the largest investment network, which is present here in Cyprus since, I think, the beginning of this year. And we do that event together with science, and thank you very much. So we signed a understanding to work together on developing the ecosystem in May. And now we are good at trying to be good to our work, involving science together, making those events together. So thank you very much for being such a gracious host.
Thank you for coming.
Pleasure. Definitely our utmost pleasure to be here. So, interesting topic, because when we say AI, what we knew yesterday is related exactly to today. We'll go even less to tomorrow. So let's dive deeper inside that to understand where we stand today and how AI can benefit the fintech ventures, that research ventures and that.
Andrey told, I'm a GP of venture capital fund, Research Ventures, and in my previous life, as I like to say that I'm a former legal guy, crashing M&A deals, mostly here in Cyprus, and maybe because of that, I have a superpower. I ask questions like endlessly until I get the ultimate truth, and it actually helps me a lot while estimating investment opportunities and startups, etc. So, let's maybe play a little bit and start with the question. So the question to you, how do you think we created the name of today's topic? Yeah, 100%. Well, it's not exactly the truth. The truth is it's a combination of two parts, which actually was proposed by ChatGPT, and then human intelligence just combined it together. Yeah, but it's really crossing fintech and AI, and I think it's a good basement to start this conversation. So, you know this guy? Who is he? Yeah, exactly the guy who actually running the company you mentioned. And yeah, I was really impressed about his recent interview with Sam Altman, CEO of Y Combinator, and he was really inspired about the momentum. It's true. I mean, well, he launched OpenAI like 10 years ago, but we see his main product, ChatGPT, like for 3 years, and he's just developing in an outstanding way. And Sam Altman said that my kids will never be as smart as ChatGPT, as AI anymore. So that's true. It's changing everything. And we talk about this. We will talk about how it will influence finance, maybe some use cases, and also what can we do to get profit out of this as a VCs, as a limited partners, as a GP, etc. So let's try. Yeah, and it's a great moment to start a company, or well, it is based on AI. And Sam Altman actually says that okay, don't invest in ChatGPT, invest in something different that ChatGPT can do, and there is a lot of opportunities there. Okay, and as I said, I have some experience in the private equity business and as a legal guy in quite a big, Investor G. It's quite a big private equity office. Also, I used to be a chairman of a commercial bank, and for the last 10 years, I'm here in VC business, and it's really interesting. And yeah, I spend a lot of time here in Cyprus, and it looks like it's a good place to be here as a GP as well. So at the same time, you have like some great community and favorite legal regime. So it's nice. I mean, Okay, so a couple of words about our fund and how we actually created this name. Research is not artificial intelligence this time, but what is true, we support, and we think that our mission is actually to support visionary entrepreneurs beyond limits, and we think that actually nowadays there are entrepreneurs and investors who go far beyond the limit, and actually the name of the fund is belongs to my favorite writers, Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, in which science fiction novel you can find some astronauts like fearless explorers, group of research, and it's a metaphoric name, but at the same time I think that it means a lot. I mean, we pay attention to meanings, and we really appreciate courage, and if you're an entrepreneur, it means a lot. It means that you pick this not so easy way, and we are happy to support this. Okay, actually we have some portfolio of our first fund. There are 14 companies, and we invested like roughly $5.5 million US, and we see that our portfolio is growing pretty fast. We have 4x growth for less than 3 years, and we are proud the opportunity to co-invest with top-tier venture capital funds such as General Catalyst, Soma Capital, Awesome Capital, GMC, Craycroft, and many others. So actually it helps us a lot that we were so focused on building a brand, and it's always about relations. It's about building new contacts, and actually our deals came from the network, and I'm happy to share some results of our portfolio, which actually connected directly to today's topic. So one of the companies, Fino is a new bank for small and medium enterprises in Europe, and we are proud that it's one of the companies in the same line as, for example, Shine, Revolut, Nubank, etc. So it's guys who actually changes finance, and again, these guys also they live in Cyprus and they work in Cyprus. Probably you know them. They live in Limassol. There are some other branches of the company also in Poland and in Netherlands, but yeah, they're local, and they are originally from the team is from Model Bank, and they probably created even more fascinating technology here. They had like ultimate value proposition, fastest opening of the bank account for small medium enterprise, and then they actually provided the full stack of services on the banking level, and now they are using AI a lot. So they just launched accounting assistance and some other back office functions, and they're pretty successful. They're going to be a unicorn soon. Just recently they launched a new round, and they cost a lot. I mean, very close to 1 billion. I'm just not allowed to discover it, but it's a very fast growing company. I think you can be proud that we are living here and develop from here. Practica AI, it's a tool to study English language with AI avatars. So it just became more efficient to study. You can study whenever you like, and it's almost the same effect as you study with a tutor, but even better. It's actually a new standard how you can study foreign languages. This application already supports different language, well, besides English, also French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Japanese, and Korean. and they are really fast growing, and they are supported late after last they were supported by Kostyuk Capital, top tier US based venture fund, and the investment idea was pretty particular to disrupt Duolingo, the current market leader for studying foreign languages, and they are growing really fast. So, okay, let's talk about AI and what is it in general, and what kind of opportunities can we actually meet here. I think it's not just a technology, it's, if somebody can, technological progress like steam engine, electricity, combustion engine, computer, and internet, and finally artificial intelligence. What does it mean? It means that after this new step appears, everything will be different. So many industries will be affected, maybe all of them, and many labor forces will be affected. It's just in a particular, from one hand, it's could be a problem for a particular person, but ultimately for humans, I think it's a great benefit, and we're gonna see how can we make money and make profit and even make our life better here. So it just redefines everything. And here I want to point out just several examples, like finance, coding, healthcare, legal, education, but there are many more. And it looks like maybe even 40% of working hours across industry can be impacted by AI, but it's just a guesstimation, I would say, so it may be more. Okay, AI in numbers. We see that it's actually a 300 billion, maybe not so impressive figure, but it's actually just 3 years after launch of ChatGPT in 2022, and according to different forecasts, it's going to reach 4 trillion by 2034, and already by now it has like 372 unicorns, and according to Sequoia and Oslo forecasts, the market gonna grow 10 times for 10 years, and it's the impact on global GDP according to PwC is also great. And now we try to get some researches, etc., and to compare how actually AI companies develops in comparison to SaaS companies, for example. There are two quite solid sources of data. It's Andrey and top quartile B2B AI startups could reach 5 million just in 1 year, and B2C startups even more, like 8 million ARR in 1 year. You will rarely see it in a SaaS company's development. And also, this graph clearly shows that AI companies actually can reach 30 million revenue just in a little bit more than 1 year. And for SaaS companies, it takes in general 3 times longer. And it seems like a great opportunity for investors who invest in these great startups with AI. Okay, and let's maybe discuss a little bit about why AI startups are so different from the previous wave of technological startups. So, first of all, they build faster. And actually, the reasons for this is AI supports development very much. So when just computer guys takes so many times, and previously it looked like an advantage, like you were coding the application for 2-3 years, and it seemed previously that okay, if somebody else decide to go the same way, they will need like 2-3 years again. But everything is different now. Just you can start a product and launch and get revenue in 1 year. The second point is that actually AI startups can solve the problem entirely, and because of that, they give a great additional value, and also they scale 2-3 times faster because of deeper penetration, maybe some network or viral effect, and also they have better margins. So the costs are less. People really willing to pay more. So it's a great basement to have a better margin in this business. And the last but not the least,
Quick question here.
yeah.
As I understand, most startups they pay, let's say, some big model, and they pay per token, and it actually not at all zero marginal cost.
Okay. Well, but I don't think that it changes the model in general. I agree that it's probably you can just compare it to labor cost. So would you prefer to code yourself with your team or just take some ready-made decision? I will take practical AI as an example. I showed this in my previous slide. So they didn't build their own LLM model. What they really did is prompt. So they get together different sources, OpenAI sources, and probably their main differentiator is finding a niche to apply.
It's all true, but I talked to a couple of startups in AI, and basically I was surprised how much they paid for tokens to have anything sensible. And basically in the end they were selling, let's say, $100 subscriptions where they themselves have.
Makes sense.
I really was surprised how expensive it is, and I guess it actually gets more expensive. Everyone is raising prices.
Yeah, but in general, still, I think that it's a true statement. Maybe there are some nuances, and well, any startup can solve it with whatever they like, whatever they like. So, I don't know. We could discuss it. Okay. Yeah, and it's a momentum. We see that valuation of AI startups are higher than well, just simple startups in SaaS. But it's also one of the factors now. Okay, and I also wanted to show some examples how AI startups are growing, and it's really impressive. For example, Clio reached 150 million ARR just in 2 years. Harvey, illegal assistant, providing law firms with some services. 75 million ARR in 2 years, and Cursor even bigger number, 300 million ARR just in 2.5 years. I mean, it's just an example how AI companies could grow really fast. I mean, and there are 3 of them on the slide, but there are many more examples. And how AI rewrites finance and why finance. So actually, if you see the set guide, again, many.
Frankly, all the things from compliance.
Yeah, the compliance is actually one of the most obvious case how AI could be applied in fintech business. It's actually, I would say about this a little bit further, but actually AI changes both front end and back end. So you can sell differently and you can run your business differently. So you can just evaluate risk in more efficient way. You can make more personal and some offers for your clients. You can manage wealth etc. So there are many options how you could actually apply AI in finance technology. And well, there are some characteristics like repetitive process, complex forecasting, high sensitivity to errors and frauds. So those major factors why actually AI can really help in finance and make fintechs and banks more effective and actually make more profit for them. And again, I already mentioned that we are really proud that Phenom is one of the list among other new leaders. Technology changes and leaders actually are different now. So you can see that nowadays heroes are digital banks. And what's going to be next actually? Will they take all the market, or what actually traditional commercial banks gonna do to shorten the gap? Probably they will just buy some fintechs. Maybe we will see some mergers and acquisitions, and I actually don't know why. Who gonna acquire commercial banks or vice versa? New banks will acquire probably some commercial banks just for their clients, etc. So we will see. Deeper, we try to focus and show some examples how AI could be applied in financial business. For example, on the front end, it just supports loan processing and approvals, customer support, onboarding and account opening, personalized financial advisory, and here you see the exact example. Bank of America actually uses TARS like a white label, so just to make its operation more effective. And it's you see 75% reduction in portfolio research time, and many more benefits out of such operation. Also, dynamic pricing and offers. You see, Capital One is actually like one of the old school US-based mainly, it's basically the bank, but it's the bank which realized that a new era came and we need to do something differently, and they provide dynamic pricing and offers and improve their business. Also on the back side of the banks, you see some possibility of using AI in fraud detection, and again, one of the major players on the market uses is for fraud detection already. Corporate treasury and payments, document processing and management, again, JP Morgan, classical guys, they use technical solution, Zenfi. Well, many others also use Zenfi, but again, JP Morgan realized that it's an opportunity. And regulatory compliance and reports, many examples. Okay, and let's talk about how we can, as a GPs, as a VC, how can we benefit out of this? We actually try to compare different classes of assets, and you see that venture capital is, from the very beginning, it's a most profitable business. Okay, there are some nuances like liquidity, etc., but it's actually outperforms such traditional asset class like loans, real estate, S&P, private equity, etc. And what gonna be taking into consideration the momentum? We actually think that you remember the slide with this shift when electricity actually traveled. Yeah, you know, we think that is the easiest way to compare.
Pull back to the mic. We can have a kind of a fireside chat, but again, if somebody from the audience wants to ask a question, I definitely wait for my own turn. But let's speak about the business needs here, right here in Cyprus, about the traditional as you see today,
Right.
Revolut is probably the most popular bank in Cyprus without a single branch on the island, and do it quite nicely. And
You can only compete when you do something different.
sure, but my question is, okay, you have very well established banks, and they kind of don't seem to notice. And what's your take? How that situation will develop in the next 2-3 years, for example? Or like, what will traditional bank do? Will it try to employ AI? Will they continue things the way they do? And what's your scenario? looking
Yeah,
forward?
it's obvious. I think from my assumption, I think that commercial bank they will face a situation when their clients will leave them, and one day they will raise some strategical question in front of themselves and decide what they do. And I think that the best thing they could do now is actually to rebuild their front end and back end from the technological standpoint and use some AI solutions to improve. And you saw the examples, some of the major banks already do it. And I think actually those ones who realized it early will benefit a lot. And maybe the situation will develop vice versa. Maybe digital guys and neobanks will be smarter and decide, okay, we are leading, what can we do just to become a major players? Maybe we need to just purchase some classical banks, and that could be one of the options.
It's like classic banks started to fight back if you follow the news about Revolut 2 days ago, in Italy, Guardia di Finanza visited their offices.
Yeah.
For some better practice.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that the multiples will be really different.
That's my question. So do you think there is a viable opportunity where classic banks will kind of revisit their policies and start doing things the new way? Because that would represent a great investment opportunity to invest in them today. There's a huge upscale potential. The question, can they realize this potential or not?
No, it depends not only on the bank with sorting, it depends on the regulation as well. This is the main obstacle for the traditional banking system. Sure. But we're only looking at the ones from the FC UK. This is struggling. Why? Because the regulation does not understand how to supervise over the bank, especially the bank no, basically the central bank needs to implement the team which basically monitors supervise. This is the main obstacle, how the bank industry can just control the AI and take responsibility for their actions.
You're exactly right. Again, personal experience is very surprising because normally you're like, even front office people come to you to do some back office job instead of like trying to earn money for the banks. And that's hardly sustainable, indeed. And they really face, in my opinion, face grave danger in terms of competition. Because if they don't do things in a different way, if they don't use digital tools and continue trying to solve just putting their manual labor, it would be impossible to compete with the likes of Revolut and 26, to just name them. Because they do it automatically and the quality is more or less the same.
I think there's a number of issues at play. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. I think you stressed on one point which is really important about the fact that AI, what it's doing, it's increasing the agility. It actually means that startups that are doing something different can actually move at great speed. We've noticed, because we've built the first autonomous AI investment platform for the global asset and wealth management market, which is 70 trillion, with based on very advanced technology, that a lot of the big banks, they're out of it. And they're still in that buy themselves kind of mode and thinking that they can do it themselves. Now I talked to the Goldman Sachs of this world, and they might have some talent there, a talent pool, but the majority of the commercial bank don't. Right? And what they're still thinking is that they can buy it or build it themselves. They don't have the human capital, right? They're moving very, very slow, and they're losing the game.
Great, thank you.
Now, that will turn, because we've seen that with earlier technology sort of phases, whereby that's, you know, build yourself versus buy, that thing will change over the next 2 or 3 years, right? And it's either going to be via an acquisition, right? If the bank is big enough and you will acquire, or, and you know, I completely agree with you, I think, you know, the other way around. I mean, if you see the way what we're doing in portfolio management, I'm basically telling BlackRock, Fidelity, you know, your portfolio managers, the 200 or 1,000 that you have, you don't need them anymore because we're doing it via an autonomous system, right? This is not the 4th wave, you know, what a lot of people are talking about. This is the 5th wave technology that we have already built, right? And it's there. Most, you know, banks that we talk to, or institutions or asset managers, they're still, you know, in the consulting phase. They think that this is, you know, 2 or 3 years out. No, this thing has been running for the last 2 or 3 years. We will be discussing that tomorrow. Right? But you know, the big players, and this goes for every industry, most of them, you know, they're too slow. Obviously, regulation is very important, you know, especially in Europe, you know, where you have various regulations per country, you know, they're not able to scale that. And there's a lot of sort of, you know, red tape inside the firm, you know, to get things moving. And that's why the reason, you know, why I completely believe, you know, that AI, you know, is here to stay, it's going to, you know, excel. And, you know, before you know it, you know, the revolutions are going to take over, you know, just for the, you know, to grow the user base, you know, that's what's happening.
But what you said about them believing they can do it themselves is very true and very surprising.
It's been there, it's like history repeats itself. You know, this has always been the case. Oh, we can do it ourselves, or we're working on that. But, you know, the talent is not there.
And I think that the most challenging thing is to get the proper team, because it looks like, okay, it just takes like 1-2 years, but if you have a team, if you don't,
The
it
thing is,
takes much
if you
longer.
want to have a competitive advantage, you need to go into a bespoke solution. All these AI startups, or the majority, 90%, is wrapping something around an LLM model, right? That's a commodity business, right? Because you're at risk. The technology mode is gone as soon as OpenAI or GPT or whatever LLM, you know, puts that into its suite, right? Your business is gone. In order to establish an actual team that has proprietary capabilities to do something bespoke, to have a competitive long-term advantage, those people are not around anymore. I spoke to Goldman Sachs 3 years ago. They were hiring left, right, and center 100 data engineers per year. And I speak to the head of data. That's what's happening with the smartphones. The commercial banks, they're 5-6 years behind that. And now they need to poach a team or buy a team, sorry to go on a little bit of a rant here, but they try to buy a team of 10, 15, you know, smart PhD data science, they're not going. Or they're extremely expensive, or they're not loyal. Because they can get a job in Silicon Valley, you know, every other day, you know, and that's what's happening. And this is what's facing. It's not only in
It is different, because if you do it as a business, you do it as a business. That's a cost for the bank with the same entity. And besides, you learn only on your own data. If you buy it on the market, those people learn from all their customers. So the solution is infinitely better. So the answer is probably it's not the time to invest in a classic bank, because they just can't overcome that easily. That's one. Second, what I'd like to ask you is maybe about the churn, because what we hear that those companies grow very fast, but at the same time the retention rates are not very great, because they build product fast, and it's even like ahead of what Bill Gates was saying, deploy when it works somehow. It's really somehow. What's your experience about churn?
Well, I wouldn't reply in terms of my experience. Well, I see what's going on, and what I see now is actually that the rules are changing. So when we speak about VC business, from the investors, we always have some questions about liquidity. And from one side, the liquidity situation seems like changing. So it seems like investment cycle becomes shorter. So a startup could appear and then like become well, $1 million company or $5 million company just in 1 year, it seems that, well, the liquidity went, and probably they will reach like 1 billion in 3-4 years. It's on the one side. On the other side, it means that there are no entrance barriers in a classical understanding how they were before. So it seems that everything could be repeated, well, for the short period of time as well. So, and if you probably develop something, and if other company sees that there is a potential to do it different, they could do it. So probably the competence in between technological companies will be even harder, and churn, I think it's a logical sequence of this technology development. So if it's something appears, then everybody could just move to the other product. And it's a risk. It looks like a major risk. I agree with you.
Sure, that's why we see those ARR numbers. It's not maybe not adjusted to the
Probably
yet to the churn rate, which is present there.
Probably for GP and for venture funds, their strategic should be like not to wait until the companies reach like 1 billion status, but maybe to fix the profit and get some liquidity and yeah.
Good. And again, one more question before I give it back to the audience, before I forget, I made it home. I get to write it down. So what do you think about solo founders, especially in finance today? It's a famous question, like do solo founders become viable and
I think
empowered by AI tools or not yet?
Yeah, I think that situation also became different. I think that that solo founders is not so solo anymore. So because actually the situation is many great guys speaking about this. If you are a founder and you have like several AI assistants, you have like a whole team. So it seems like one man, one businessman, one founder could do much more nowadays than in the old time.
So in your opinion, that's why?
Yeah, it became more viable now.
Yes, same for us actually. We also started investing in solo founders exactly because of that. They are very well enabled. Okay, so passing the torch.
Meetup has 10 employees and 1,000 AI agents. If the number that the company produces, let's say, is invested. I think that's a big question that you're going to have in the future, or even you might have now.
You're talking about
Well, anyway, you need to use you need your team, and but you cannot compete if you are not armed with these AI agents. So it's a combination anyway.
Because there is a huge debate in the venture capital, global venture capital. And a lot of things are saying that VCs they started investing in companies that have a lot of AI agents. I mean, let's say in a scenario that actually everything else shows that this company is investable. Retention rate, whatever scenario. Would you invest in this company? If you don't want to answer it here.
In general, I estimate companies in a completely different way. For me, it's just one of the one of the questions. But I always try to understand that there is a team, there is a product, there is a revenue, there is a technology, there is a difference. In comparison to competitors, so it's a number of whys for me always. So it's not a binary choice like this.
What comes first? Andrey,
I definitely would. But what I was kind of analyzing. And if you speak about 10 people and 1,000 agents, first of all, agents do not exist yet. That's a future, which is hopefully coming. But imagine that they're there, you kind of validate is, okay, what's your operation expenses if you hire people? What's operation expenses for the agents because they don't come, because you will have to pay a lot of credits to AI, so you need to validate the actual savings. Of course, like quality issues, how you manage that. But in general, the picture that you're portraying is about efficiency, because those agents, they don't need to eat, sleep, have a break, or have a breakdown. So yes, that's better as a business, but it's not so simple. But it would not be kind of a red flag, like green or yellowish, not red.
Skyeng obviously to study English language, and it costs a lot. It's a big company. It's scaling. It was scaling really difficult, and now it's just scaling really fast. And besides, I strongly believe that those avatars could be used in a very different industries. They could be like advisors, sellers, etc. So if they are fast, if they are smooth, I think that majority of people would accept it and will communicate with them same as with the actual people, sellers. Yeah.
Speaking of avatars, by the way, do you think that like human likeness is very important for them, or people will work with something less complicated?
I don't know. For myself, it was like when I, for example, want to go to the doctor, and when I call to the call center, before that, maybe before recent years, it was for me. I prefer to talk to some human and explain my situation in details. Now I don't do this. I just take application, and it's just fast. I mean, if there is a robot, some assistant who is really smart and clever, it's enough.
No, AI assistant in that format is, yes, it's much better than it was before. When we speak about avatars, it's kind of
It's just
an
like
image of a person. So do you think like the real likeness is very important?
I think so. I think so because when someone is selling a product, he might use some signals, some unverbal thing, and I think that actually similar to a human avatars could do the same. If they really look like a human, they could just copy the pose or ask the right questions. I think it's just
Of course. For me, it should be one of two. Like people see the like completely cartoonish, which is for gaming, or really feeling like it is for serious stuff. Yeah, because yes, you should should be able to confuse your avatar with a person. And then it could work because by research we take like 10% of information burden. 90% is all the gestures, facial expressions. So if they do avatar of that kind, probably it will work. If not,
That might still perceive it as a fraud if they.
Because I started posting my deepfakes doing some tests.
okay.
And 63% of my people, they are saying that they prefer me in real life.
Yes, of course.
Because they sold 7 million products within a couple of hours.
That's not an artist, Paris, who could capture your beauty.
For me, the question with avatars is it ever possible that, let's say, I can sell, and then the client is served by my avatar? So I do the sale, the first sale, and then.
For me, it's also a matter of time, because if you can just look how that technology evolved over the last 10 years, from very cartoonish stuff to almost human likeness. And together with AI, if you see like those AI videos, it's almost human-like.
They've already run real live streaming avatars, and they've been selling, and people really didn't even understand it.
In Asia, for example, the biggest social media accounts are avatars. Not extreme.
No, again, social media is kind of one direction communication. So you receive it and it's okay. In sales, it's back and forth. And you want to have a meaningful conversation with your avatar, with meaningful reactions. So you can read what this person is telling. Because if you see that this is an artificial creature, I think you won't be able to meaningfully engage. Like you will be speaking with a tape recorder, like, why?
Yeah, what is small talk is an avatar? Makes no sense. Right?
No, and it's again, different cultures, you need to be able to do that. Like me, several days ago, I had a quite intense conversation, which should have happened. The guy is Egyptian by birth, okay, many years in Europe, but Egyptian. So high-touch culture, they call it. So we spent an hour and a half sniffing each other and speaking of pleasantries before we managed to go to the actual matter. If you speak with American, it will be like, 1 hour 29 minutes short, hi, okay, what's the problem? Yeah, and you should be able to attend to that, so that's true. You have something?
Yeah, but let's keep it. I mean, my concern was that we're discussing avatars, it's a hype now, it's a buzzword. But if you look closer, everyone, like 95% of them, they are just linked to Unreal Engine. So it's a gaming engine, nobody creates it. And I mean, I'm concerned about the application. So everybody buzzwording about avatars, but where is the real solution? I guess it's probably more about this RPA, which is now called MCP protocols, about like prompting where to go. I mean, what's your vision on that? Where is the main application?
For avatars?
Yeah, because it's hallucinating a lot.
Do we have a speaker so that it's like
Yeah, so, I mean, if we look at visual, it doesn't exist really, because everyone works on the same engine. So nobody creates engine. So what's the real application then? Is it like creating the best scenario for sales, or what's the, I mean, what's the vertical, I'm sorry?
Do you mean use case?
Yeah, what's the main use case? It's like with crypto, everybody was worrying about crypto, but what's the real application? Rather than stable
Real
coins.
application of avatars?
Yeah.
Just many cases.
I mean, from my perspective, it seems like with Lovable and all of that stuff that we discussed today, it's like checking your hypothesis rather than building a big scalable business. So you can really check any hypothesis you have with Lovable, base 44, doesn't matter. But you cannot build like a really big business with that.
Why not?
Do you know any examples?
Practically, yeah. It's a big business.
But it's using LLM from LLM, right?
Yes,
So,
but
so that means, what if, let's say, I don't know, they're using OpenAI, what if OpenAI says, no, I'm going to introduce it into my own suite? What leaves it in, where does practice stay? And there's a lot of companies that are now wrapping themselves around all these LLMs, and suddenly Grok will say, just like
OpenAI is not the
Grok
only
4,
provider.
Grok 4 apparently is better than Cursor now. So what happens when all those engines are going to include these applications that we build on it, included in their own package? Actually, everyone will just fade away because everybody will continue and centralize around that one main entity. We've been living in monopoly times, monopolized worlds for quite some decades now, and we see it coming back, right? The strongest, the biggest, they get all the attention, they get all the flow, also the human attention, right? So we will see this, in my opinion, and I think also said and probably others, once these LLMs keep growing, they start improving their suite, like Microsoft added Excel, and added this, and added that to their suite. These guys will add suites and add applications. A lot of these ones, that applications that are now being hyped, they will die. They have nothing really substance. Imagine just going further. They change it in such a way, look at MetaQuotes for instance, that change it in such a way that doesn't allow them, certainly a person, to access their engine. So they're not only that, they can kill literally the competition, but telling them, guys, sorry, but now our engine has updated, and our technology is different. So all those links that you've made, they don't work anymore, and oh, by the way, sorry, we're not doing it anymore.
So I actually prefer to think about if you have a solution, you have just the market. If it fits, you can sell it. If it doesn't fit, you can sell it.
You know, but how long? For how long will I be able to sell? Let's say I've
There are some risks. So you see it. Every entrepreneur should be vision to some extent and to see if there is an opportunity or not. I mean,
Actually, I think, yeah.
And
It's
this-
just that, I wonder what happens, let's say, when an entrepreneur starts at Baltic.
I think that actually entrepreneurs.
I think you just make sure you
Okay,
can enough money
okay,
along the way.
industry, startup industry, 8 out of 10 companies will fail, will perish.
It's okay.
So,
It's okay.
Just make sure you get a lot of money along the way.
Yeah, but your time frame is potentially becoming shorter and shorter and shorter.
Very right, what you're saying, in my opinion, but the risk, and I think, is not to stand exactly on the way of a large language model. Find something which is kind of aside of that, not stay where they
Not
want
be
to go.
dependent, not be
And you
dependent.
more or less know where they are moving. So you better stand aside, so then it's easier for them to buy you than to build you.
That is the question, because they got the best AI agents. Maybe they don't have to buy you, they can just build it quicker and more improved.
You know,
No, I'm not always, I'm not always.
the
I'm saying
end
tendency goes
game
that way.
is probably like that. You know, we have a planet where code writes code, like robots make robots, and we just go to pasture, not to spend some time.
So you are trying to do people talk for PNMs?
It's built on the side, rather
The
than
side or on top?
Yes, but not in front.
What do you mean the side?
No, I mean, we know where they're moving. Again, that's large language model.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know, building a text editor would be a suicidal move, because that's what they will people that roll out very
It's a
fast.
local language.
Exactly. Like trying to build an image editor, probably as risky as that, because it's again right in front of them. But you have tons of other applications. Again, if you use that for finance purposes in fintech, that's definitely not what they are doing tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So find something where LLM is very useful, but not in front of them, not their immediate like roadmap. That's the only solution you can see, because they are so large, they will kind of roll over you and will not even notice.
Listen, I think, Anton is right in some way, right? I mean, it depends on what industry, what kind of application, what kind of wrapper is being built. But Jaron is also right, is that anything that is built as a wrapper, right, is under threat of either, somebody else doing it because it's not the smartest thing doing, building, a wrapper, right? It's not bespoke, it's not proprietary. And the risk is on the financial model. That's why we, for instance, buy proprietary, systems. We don't depend on LLMs because, basically it's commodity. Now, Anton, you're absolutely right. If you have an application built, that could still be profitable for the next 4
They need to go really.
Well, you need a face in
Yes.
front of AI, same as in legal issues. Why you can have kind of an AI legal requirement? Because the AI didn't pass the bar exam.
Exactly.
And you can
Say
strip
about
him of
customer.
legal license, so you need somebody to fight if something goes wrong.
I think there's a sort of side issue that the gentleman in front raised, which is sort of an existential or real threat for innovative AI companies. When you're attacking a legacy industry or a legacy system, right? For instance, we're attacking the global asset management space. And at some point, the big financial institutions, which have a lot more clout than you, as it were, they will either try to collaborate or they will start their lobby around, we need to regulate, black box technology and whatever. Now, just to give you sort of an example, a statement, this was James Dimon, you can look it up, 4 or 5 weeks ago, already, very subtly, starting like, hey, we need to regulate these black boxes, and all so forth. It's the sign of the times what's going to happen, and this is something sometimes underestimated with very innovative AI startups, they might have their full business plan ready, they've got their team, they've got the product, right? If you're not sort of preempting that, for instance, you're building in, extremely good explainable AI